Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum class. Today our topic of discussion is mechanism of action of CNS, Central Nervous System stimulants. First of all, you must know what are the stimulants. Stimulants are a class of drugs that speed up the message between the brain and the body. It means that such type of the drugs or the medicines, they increase the message conveying between the brain and the body, and they can make a person feel more awake, alert, confident, and energetic. It means that the sleeplessness character is reduced, and a person can wait for a large for long period of time for more hours, and he can or she can do work more effectively and energetically after taking such type of the stimulants. And some the persons are no doubt they are used to take such type of the stimulants in their daily life, and the large doses of the stimulant can cause overstimulation. It means that if the dose of the drug was like normal dose were 10 milligram, and a person used to take the instead of 10 milligram 20 milligram of the drug at a time, and this may result the over more stimulation of the brain and the body, and therefore it may cause anxiety, panic, seizures, pain in the body, headaches, stomach pain like stomach cramps, and the aggression as well, he feel anxiety, and therefore become annoyed with his or her environment. And the long term use of the strong stimulant means if these stimulants are used for the long period of time, like over months, over years, they can cause a number of the adverse effect on the body. And the more commonly used stimulants are the caffeine, nicotine, amphetamine, and the cocaine. Next is the central nervous system stimulants. Central nervous stimulants are the drugs that produce generalized stimulation of the brain and the spinal cord, because brain and spinal cord are two important parts or the segments of the central nervous system, and which may lead to the convulsion in the very severe cases if they are taken in a large concentration over a long period of time. And therefore the name of such type of the drug is called central nervous system stimulant. It means they are responsible for the stimulation or the excitement or the alertness of the brain and the spinal cord, and they are of limited therapeutic value. Therapeutic means for the medicinal point of views, and here the stimulation is no doubt they are on the ground of like abusive misuse of the drugs, and because of their convulsing activities, and because convulsing mean uncontrolled movement like in the epileptic patient, and such type of the movements are or activities are caused, and therefore for the medicinal point of view, for curing the ailments, such type of drugs are used to the very limited extent. And there are however some that are used as the respiratory stimulants, and other like the xanthine. It means that for the respiratory stimulant, such type of drug may have the stimulation in a positive way for the therapeutic values. And other like xanthine derivative like structure is drawn over here, have many pharmacological actions and the uses like in case of the caffeine. And sympathomimetic means these agents are able to directly activate adrenergic receptors. And for adrenergic receptors, you must know what are such type of the receptor, what are their function. And as far as the adrenergic receptors are concerned, they are the class of the G protein coupled receptors, and they are the targets of many catecholamine and ephrin type of the drugs. And they are in the central nervous system. Adrenoreceptors are involved in functions such as memory and the alertness. And like the for here two drugs amphetamine and ephedrine, which are the potent central nervous stimulant. They are investigated, and they are many experimentation have been done in which these drugs are activate these adrenergic receptors. Next is the central stimulant action. A few central nervous system stimulant exhibit predominant central stimulant action. Their stimulating action is very dominant, and like the leptazole, this drug activate the central nervous system, and therefore stimulating it. Therefore, stimulating means the overall function or the bodily function or the alertness or the awaking quality of the body rises, and the other possesses multiple side effects. For example, ephedrine and the atropine act on the autonomic central nervous system, and autonomic central nervous system is another type of the certain central nervous system, and it is a part of the nervous system which is responsible for the control of the bodily functions which are not under the control of our conscious, which is not over under voluntary control, such as the breathing, heartbeat, and the digestive process. And finally, a number of the drugs do exert temporary stimulation of central nervous system in a toxic dosage form, and like the local anesthesia and the serotonin, and the salicylate as well. In usual practice, the central nervous system stimulant find their use in the emergencies, in emergencies like where the abrupt or the very quick central nervous system alertness is required, and therefore prompt mean quick, and the short term excitation mean the alertness, and the stimulation of central nervous system is required for the short period of time. And because a prolonged stimulation of the central nervous system is done, then it may be followed by the depression condition. It means that may result in the toxic and the bad, or the adverse or the unwanted effect on the body may be resulted. And therefore, here are the central nervous system stimulants drugs are defined as that these are the drug substances that more specifically afford an enhancement in the excitability. And in excitability mean the overall there is excitement or there is quickness, laziness from the body is eliminated, either very much within the different portion of the brain and the spinal cord and the connective body parts like the lungs, like the kidneys, muscles as well. They are also in the mode of the excitement or the alertness. And the most commonly observed, marked, and the pronounced stimulatory effects produced by CNS stimulants are essentially comprised of distinct awakening and the enhanced motor function. It means that if overall the person wants to do his factory work, or like if a certain laborers person want to work for the 24 48 hours consecutively, therefore such persons are take, or the individual, they are very in a very usual practice they take such type of the stimulant in order to work for the longer period of time in a very quick body conditions. Although it's a very wrong practice, and such type of the stimulants shouldn't be used only if the very unusual or the emergency condition prevailed, and therefore which give rise to the host of both concealed and the obvious pharmacological action. Concealed mean they are the hidden one, and the obvious one they can be observed by the body, such as the individual feelings of the increased mental alertness is there, load, feeling of the person fatigue, overall if the person is feeling fatigue, he or she is unable to do work for long period of time, therefore such type of the feeling fatigue condition will be low, then he must or she must feel the very active body condition. And enhanced concentration, it means that he can pay more concentration on his work. And apparent elevation in mood, it means that his mood is very active, very fresh. And above all, the increased energy, because by taking these such type of drug, no doubt there is increase in the blood flow, and therefore when there is increase in the blood flow, no doubt respiratory function is elevated, no doubt heart function is elevated, and therefore enthusiasm and the motivation is also prevailed in such type of the person or the individual who is used to take these stimulants. It is, however, pertinent to state at this function that an excessive central nervous stimulation may ultimately lead to the serious and the critical dose dependent adverse effect. And it means that dose dependent mean if the dosage is high, therefore it may result a very serious and the critical bad effect or the unwanted effect on the body, which is concerned or associated with the brain and central nervous system and spinal cord, and also the overall the motor effects, and which are the mental anxiety is raised, mental agitation is raised, and the extreme nervousness, and sometimes epileptic seizures, uncontrolled body movement, uncontrolled muscle movement, and it's not the under control of the individual to control his muscle movement, and therefore seizures may result. And in the epileptic patient, when he or she observe the uncontrolled movement of the body parts, limbs, and it's not under his voluntary action. And salient features of these CNS stimulants are the amphetamine, the well-known central sympathomimetic agent, and its close structural variant. If structures variations are there, usually exhibit significant alerting. Alerting mean activeness, and antidepressant activity may be also be resulted, but the therapeutically find their abundant utility as anoxidants. And it means that these are the agents that produce loss of appetite. He may not feel to eat certain food timely, and therefore when he or she doesn't want to take the food, it may result in the loss of energy from the body, and which is associated with the loss of weight, and loss of overall activeness of the body may also be resulted if such type of the amphetamine and their structural analogs may be used. And because when they are going to exhibit alertness for the definite period of time, after that they may result in the loss of appetite condition as well. And because of the immense abuse potential with the amphetamine, it means that immensely, largely abuse mean they are used in a wrong way. And with the amphetamine and particularly methamphetamine, like in a figure, it's shown that the danger of using methamphetamine rises if the Xanax such person are used to administer the Xanax like antidepressant drug as well. And they are utilizing the antidepressant along with the amphetamine, which is the stimulant. It means that if co-administration is there, one drug wants to stimulate the central nervous system, it is going to activate the central nervous system, but on the other hand, like the Xanax, it's an antidepressant, and it's going to provide the calmness to the brain and the spinal cord. Therefore, the vigorous condition may also be resulted by using such type of the co-administration. And the intensive search is already want to suggest the better and the safer alternative medical treatment for the CNS stimulants. And why these such alternative medical treatments are used or in practice, because they want to compact the such type of the critical disorder efficiently, because when people are used to take these type of the abusive drugs in large concentration, in overdoses and over a long period of time, therefore they have the very bad impact on the body, and the person may loses their consciousness, and the alertness, or overall you can say there are bad impact on their brain, on their body function, normal body function as well. Next is the modafinil, and after recent clinical trials, may prove to be a promising alternative candidate drug in treating narcolepsy. And for treating narcolepsy means narcolepsy is the chronic ailment, like a disease condition which is consisting of the recurrent. It means that the quick attacks of the drowsiness and the sleep during the daytime. Even if the person don't want to sleep in the daytime, he want to awake and do his work, but due to the narcolepsy condition, it's very you can say the very bad disease stage, at which he may fell into a sleep, and when he may be walking, he may be sitting, he fell on the bench, he fell on a chair, and therefore because his muscles associated with the you can say neck and the shoulders, they are not doing the proper function, and even in a very adverse condition, the limbs also going to do their proper function, the correct function in a nice way. And therefore modafinil, after recent clinical trials, it's also have to be a very good alternative drug candidate for treating such type of the ailments or the diseases. The relatively older practice of employing CNS stimulant as respiratory stimulants, it means that for respiratory stimulants, in order to increase the overall function of lungs, such type of the stimulants was also used in instances of the overdoses with the depressant drugs. In a condition when these depressant drugs were utilized, and therefore in a certain condition, central nervous system stimulant dosage or the drugs have also find their utility as the respiratory stimulants, in order to increase the blood supply to the, you can say, the lungs. And therefore when the blood supply to the lungs is increases, it means that they will take more oxygen towards the lung. It means that they will also increase the inhalation and the exhalation process as well. Then is the classification. Central nervous system stimulants may be classified into the following three categories, like the xanthine derivatives, epileptics, and the miscellaneous central nervous system stimulants. First, I will describe xanthine derivatives, which are important class for you. Here is the structure of overall the xanthine moiety or the nucleus. And the xanthine derivative have a wide spectrum of therapeutic application, ranging from their stimulation of cardiac muscle, like they stimulate the cardiac muscle, they raises the function of the cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle means the muscles which are associated with the heart, they are going to function, contract and relax very effectively after utilizing the xanthine based drugs. Enhanced diuresis, overall kidney function is enhanced, and stimulation of central nervous system is enhanced, and finally a soothing relaxation of the bronchi and the coronary arteries. It means that whole body parts or the organelles which are associated with the like heart, with the kidneys, lungs, they are going to be relaxed, and there it means that blood supply is going to be enhanced towards these parts. And few typical example of the members of this category are the caffeine and theophylline and theobromine and aminophylline. And like caffeine structure is drawn over here, like it's the one like on position number 1 methyl group is present, on position number 3 n methyl group is present, on 7 n methyl, therefore it is 1,3,7 trimethyl xanthine. And name can also be derived from the purine, like 1H purine, 2,6 dione, and 7 methyl thiophyllene. Here are the common names for the caffeine. And here is the synthesis of caffeine, how caffeine, which is the CNS stimulant, it can be um synthesized very efficiently in the laboratory. And first of all, urea is taken, and urea is from the urea 1,3-dimethyl urea is prepared by the reaction of urea with the methylamine CH3NH2, and which resulted into the 1,3-dimethyl urea, how one hydrogen is removed and overall the methyl group is introduced. Later on, this 1,3-dimethyl urea is treated with the cyanoacetic acid. Cyanoacetic acid means acetic acid CH3COH, but here the hydrogen is removed with the CN group. Therefore, it's a cyanoacetic acid. And overall, there is elimination of the water molecule, and there is formation of the open chain nitride. And you can see from here, like open chain nitride is going to be formed after the reaction with the cyanoacetic acid with the 1,3-dimethyl urea. And the resulting compound undergo the cyclization after treating with the alkali. Therefore, cyclization is you can see over here, after treatment with alkali, cyclization, these all nitrogen is like if it is present over here, then C double bond O, then NCH3, C double bond O, then this is the CH2, this one, and this CN, and lastly there is bond formation between this C and N, and this C and N is depicted over here. And after treating with the HNO2, like the nitrous acid, and the cyclized compound on treatment with the nitrous acid, it gives there is nitration, and after that there is reduction, and NO2 is converted into NH2, and here it is reduced and the double bond will be introduced. And after that it is going to be react with the formic acid, and when it reacts with the formic acid, it gives the various changes are made over here, like this NH2 attack over here, and therefore this CHO will be introduced, or the aldehyde functionality will be introduced. And after that alkali treatment, like last I have seen here, and after alkali treatment it is going to be again like cyclization is over here, like it's the N, this one, these two carbons, then again NH2, and it will both cyclize with this one. Therefore, bond will be formed over here. Thiophylline will be formed, and then is the N-methylation, and N-methylation will be occur on on this nitrogen, and already N-methylation on this carbon, sorry, on this nitrogen, and this nitrogen was already present, and therefore there is formation of caffeine. And here is the overall description for the various process which occur in the synthesis of caffeine, like how there is interaction between the urea and the methylamine, and how cyanoacetic acid will react to give the open chain nitride, and after that there is cyclization, and in the presence of alkali, and the cyclized compound on treatment with the nitric acid gives the like nitration, and reduction overall gives and then is the reaction with the formic acid. Again, lastly, as we have seen that alkali reacts to give the formation of the thiophylline, and lastly there was the and methylation, and finally it will yield the caffeine. And caffeine is the potent central nervous system stimulant. It impart a very quick effect on the central nervous system. It also act on the cardiac muscle, heart muscle, and on the kidney as well, and therefore it stimulates the higher centers of the central nervous system, thereby it causing the enhanced mental alertness and the wakefulness. It means that person is quite active, quite alert and wakeful. He can do his work for a long time. He is still in a condition of awaking, and therefore caffeine help in the stimulation of the respiratory centers, because it has also impact on the heart and also on the lungs. Therefore its diuretic action is due to the enhanced glomerular filtration, because when the glomerular filtration is raised, it means that there is increased renal blood flow towards that part, and therefore above all the reduction of the normal tubular reabsorption. It means that if there is going to be important like amino acids, like vitamins, like the small ions are going to be reabsorbed from the renal tubular reabsorption, these type of the absorption will be reduced, but there is increase in the urine production in the body, because overall I have told you that the blood supply is raised, and no doubt when blood supply is raised, blood will go more towards the lung, more towards the kidney as well. Therefore the respiratory action will be stimulated, and also the overall kidney action in the form of the diuretic action will also be enhanced or the increased. Next is the mechanism of action of CNS stimulant, and how they undergo effects on the body. Number first is caffeine. Caffeine mechanism of action is important one. It stimulate all level of CNS, and therefore it means that at all the level of central nervous system, it will affect all the parts, and particularly cerebral cortex. What does cerebral cortex mean? It playing an important role in the consciousness, in the alertness, and therefore distinctly producing a more rapid and clarity of thought. It means that the person brain functions very quickly. He can give question answer very quickly, and therefore caffeine is no doubt in a tea, and some persons are used to take tea very quickly or very progressively promptly after few hours. They say that yes, their body function are quite alert one. In fact, no doubt they are quite alert one. The caffeine stimulate the CNS, but no doubt it has adverse effect as well. Therefore it should be used in certain limits, and improve the psychomotor coordination, and wakefulness, and the augmentation of in spirit, and feelings in the fatigue patients, and therefore the overall effects on the body of the caffeine, they are quite enhanced one, they are quite the augmented one, and at very first evidences, these effects are very quick, but after that they are going to be very worst. And next is the its cortical effect are observed to be not only of shorter span, but also are of milder nature in comparison to the amphetamine. And amphetamine is no doubt a central nervous system stimulant, and it is used in the treatment of the attention deficit disorders, narcolepsy, and obesity. And therefore, because its cortical functions, like which are associated with the consciousness of the brain, its effects are observed, and they are to be not only of the short span, not they exist for the short span for a short time. And interestingly, at a higher doses, like for caffeine, it is substantially stimulate vasomotor. And vasomotor mean it is concerned with the action upon a blood vessel. It means that it will affect the blood vessel, and which will alter their diameter of the blood vessel will be changed, and therefore it is referred to both vasodilator and the vasoconstriction action. It means that there is increase in the diameter, and there is also constriction or the decrease in the diameter of the blood vessels. It means that how dangerous are the caffeine, like they can increase the blood vessel diameter, they can decrease the blood vessel diameter, and therefore the medullary vagal center means, it's also called VMC. It's a portion of medulla oblongata in the brainstem that, together with the cardiovascular center and respiratory center, it regulates the blood pressure and the other homeostatic processes in the body. It means that the effect of caffeine is how much you can say quick and proficient, and thereby affording an induction of the bradycardia and the vasoconstriction and enhanced rate of respiration. And what is meant by the bradycardia? Bradycardia means it's a heart rate when it's very slow, and what's considered too slow can depend on the age of the physical condition. But in this case, by using the caffeine, there's in some cases there is effective effect in a sense of induction or production of the bradycardia, slow like heart rate. And the vasoconstriction mean blood vessels are going to be constrict of become of yeah, becoming low diameter, and enhanced rate of the respiration process is also going to be raised. Caffeine exerts a noticeably inotropic effect, and inotropic effect means influencing the force of muscular contractibility. Muscles contraction is going to be influenced, increase, decrease. In many cases, the muscle contraction is raised. And on the myocardium means that it is also associated with the heart cardiac muscles, and a positive chronotropic effect. Chronotropic means it influences the rate of occurrence of event like heartbeat, and positive corona means heart beating going to be raised, blood pressure is going to be raised, and particularly on the sinoatria node. Sinoatria node is the part which is also associated with the function of the heart. It is relating to or denoting a small body of the specialized muscle tissue, which are called the sinoatrial node, and which are present in the wall of the right atrium of the heart. Like the it's also associated with the sinoatrial node effect on the sinoatrial node, and whose contraction regulate the heartbeat. It means that the caffeine is going to impart its effect on the atrium of the heart, and which ultimately result into a short timely observed heart rate. Short timely mean for small period of time. Heart rate is going to be effect, and the force of contraction working of the heart, and above all the cardiac output. Overall cardiac output mean the factor which is going to be affect the blood flow out of heart towards the body part, towards kidneys, towards lungs. It means that whole body functions are affected very in a very noticeably way by using the caffeine. However, it is largely believed that the vasoconstriction, which is the constriction of blood vessel which restrict the blood flow, of the cerebral blood vessels by the caffeine remarkably contribute a lot to its exceptional capability to relieve headache. It means that in a certain condition, when the caffeine is used in a person which he is who is feeling the headache, pain in the head, in that cases it also relieves the patient from the headache. It cure the headache. It cure the headache? Because it is responsible for the vasoconstriction. When vasoconstriction is resulted, and it means that the blood flow towards the brain is lessened, and in this case the headache are relieved. It is found to cause stimulation of the voluntary skeletal muscles, like voluntary skeletal muscles which are associated with the brain, with the arms, with the limbs, with the legs. And they muscle, these such type of the muscles, they are going to be enhance their function, contraction, and hence the muscular fatigue may also be resulted by. When muscles are going to be contract very quickly, then the muscle fatigue, muscle they are going to be fatigue, means painful muscle condition. Caffeine undoubtedly stimulate the parietal cells. Parietal cells means the cells which are present in the stomach. It means that caffeine has also effect on the stomach, which enhance the excretion of the gastric juice in the stomach. When the gastric juice is more secreted in the stomach, and therefore it causes the in certain condition acidity as well. Next, increase of the fatty acid oxidation. The increase of lipolysis or the fatty acid oxidation, which is responsible for the release of the like triacylglycerol functionality, determines a decreased dependence from the glycogen use. It means that glycogen use, which is glucose storage into the muscles, in the liver, the glycogen is not used as the source of like energy, like lipolysis is used for the source of energy. When because of fatty acid oxidation, which is alpha or beta fatty oxidation, which is responsible for causing the providing the energy, and caffeine thus switches the substrate preference from the glycogen to the lipids. It means that for a certain enzyme, the lipids will be more hydrolyzed instead of the glycogen by stimulating the HSL activity. HSL activity means the hormone sensitive lipase, and it is an intracellular neutral lipase that is capable of hydrolyzing a variety of esters. Therefore, no doubt in the lipolysis, a steric bond is hydrolyzed to give the alcohol and the acid, and therefore inhibiting the glycogen phosphorylase activity. When glycogen phosphorylase will not be active, it means that glycogen will not be going to be breakdown or the hydrolyze. When it is not hydrolyzed, it means that it will not convert into glucose, and it will not provide energy from the glycogen end, but from the lipolysis or the fatty acid oxidation will be raised. And next is the effect on the cardiovascular system, and it has several effects on the cardiovascular system, which is examined very thoroughly in a large number of the patients, and many mechanisms have been suggested in relation to the caffeine toxicity, which primarily affects the cardiovascular system, where it causes toxicity as well. Therefore, caffeine can raise your heart rate, cause palpitation. Palpitation means heartbeat, effect on heartbeat, extra heartbeat may be resulted, and using and such type of the heartbeats are investigated in the ECG, and using large amounts of it for a long period of time can increase your risk of having a heart attack as well. It means that the very dangerous effect of the caffeine are on the cardiovascular system when these caffeine are used as the central nervous system stimulant, because they function through the heart, through the kidneys, through the lungs, through the muscles, and through the you can say the stomach as well. This is all about for today's lecture, and for assignment you have to prepare what is the most powerful central nervous system stimulant. and what is the strongest natural stimulant for the CNS, and what are the good stimulants which provide the positive effect on the body. Um, Best wishes and Allah Hafiz, students.